This is the story of Putin's bunkers. Near the end of March 2022, two airplanes did something strange. They both belonged to the Rossiya Special Flight Detachment, a fleet of aircraft directly subordinate to the President of the Russian Federation. In peacetime, these planes flew between Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Sochi, but now they flew differently. Only about a month after the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, RA-61716 visited Yekaterinburg once, and then Ufa twice. The other plane, RA-96017, also flew to Yekaterinburg, and then to Magnitogorsk. Why these two planes would fly to these three cities in the east, right when the invasion of Ukraine had just started, was a bit weird. This was the time when Russia realized that their invasion of Ukraine would not take a week. Something changed. Maybe these flights were part of a new drill and preparation of a much longer war, or maybe some politicians just had some undisclosed business. But what made it weirder was the location. Right in the middle of all three of these cities is an open secret. Between Ufa, Yekaterinburg, and Magnitogorsk is the highest mountain in the southern Urals, Yamantau. It is also home to what some believe is a bunker the size of a city made for Russia's political elite. Without the support of our sponsors, we would not be able to make our videos. This video was sponsored by Holzkern. With more than 1 million satisfied customers, Holzkern is the brand for wooden watches and jewelry made from natural materials. Their products are made from FSC certified wood and residual wood from the furniture industry. They offer a wide range of watches. There are completely wood designs, such as this one made of walnut wood and marble, but there's also more standard designs, such as this one. The watches feel premium and are very well made. And along with the watches, Holzkern also makes necklaces, earrings, and rings. You can also find sunglasses and handbags on their website. Through the link in the description and with the code FERN, you can get an exclusive discount of 15% on your first Holzkern order. Thanks to free express shipping, it will be with you within 2 to 5 days. If you don't like the products, you can always return them within the first 24 days and you'll get your money back. No questions asked. Go ahead and check out their products. During the Cold War, the Soviets commanded thousands of workers to construct underground bunkers. According to an American nuclear security expert, diagrams and notes provided by senior SAC officers showed that the Yamantau Command Center is located inside of a mountain of rock and quartz around 900 meters below the summit. It is a military base for the resettlement of the top Russian political leadership. Although we don't know exactly what this bunker looks like, we do know what American bunkers look like. If we use schematics of the Cheyenne Mountain complex, we can imagine a command center, fuel storage, water storage, and rooms for combat operations. However, Yamantau is different. Because the mountain is largely made up of quartz, communication is difficult. Quartz can interfere with radio signals. If the massive underground bunker doesn't establish good communication between Russia's political elites and their forces, what else would it be used for? After the Cold War, Yamantau was considered abandoned. The time of infinite communist budgets was over. But Yamantau is special because in the 1990s, US spy satellites picked up that the Russians were working on it again. More than 30 years later, some say construction is ramping up. Next to Yamantau is a town called Mezhgoye. Formed after the merger of two military camps, Mezhgoye is militarily restricted. Not any Russian can get in. So at the end of April 2021, the locals in Mezhgoye were in for a surprise. An Ufa-based newspaper reported that a convoy of at least 19 units of heavy construction vehicles showed up with license plates registered in Moscow. The local mayor's office informed the paper that the vehicles would expand the asset base of Upravlение Stроительства No. 30. US 30 is contracted specifically for heavy construction projects, including the construction of large-scale underground complexes. They didn't comment on the purpose of the expansion because the projects of US 30 are directly under management of the Ministry of Defense. In April of 2021, military convoys showed up in Mezhgoye, and in April of 2021, the Russians also mobilized thousands near the border of Ukraine. Months later, parts of the presidential fleet flew to cities in the immediate area, seemingly out of nowhere. In early 2021, Navalny published an investigation into a palace on the Black Sea. Funded by public money, it's a hidden mega facility constructed for Putin's private use. Navalny also released diagrams. They reveal a building that's as impressive above ground as it is underground. Located beneath Putin's palace are tunnels and a massive elevator. They're equipped with ventilation and sewage systems, and all the other necessary equipment for fresh water and electricity. The leaked cross-section of the elevator also shows multiple ventilation shafts, which hints that this is no normal elevator. It could very well be that these are backups in case of an attack. Whether these tunnels can withstand a modern nuclear blast is unclear, but the walls are made out of 38 centimeters of concrete. Even more revealing is that they were also constructed by US Number 30, the same organization connected to Yamantau. US 30 answers directly to the MDSP, the main directorate of special programs of the President of the Russian Federation. It is the state body that is tasked with organizing the construction of hardened protective structures, and it is led by one of Putin's most trusted individuals. Alexander Linets was a former regional head of the FSB, the descendant organization of the KGB. He's been the head of the MDSP since 2015. In 2020, Putin's admiration and trust for Linets was shown through a public income statement that revealed that Linets had moved into a 177 square meter luxury apartment in Moscow. The Kremlin gives Linets treats because Linets is important. He not only leads the directorate connected to Yamantau and Putin's palace, but his organization is also linked with bunkers directly in Russia's capital. Next to the State University in Moscow is a barren, underdeveloped piece of land. This is strange. It's prime real estate that's empty, but located right by Moscow's most prestigious university. However, in 2017, under the direct orders of the president, the land started to be partially developed. Katerina Tikhanova is a professional dancer who holds master's degrees in mathematics and physics. She serves as the head of the Inopraktika Foundation, which is connected to the development of the land in front of Moscow State University. Under her foundation's lead, the land will become an innovative science park for the MSU. She also happens to be Putin's daughter. The land that is now being developed by an organization that is partially run by Putin's immediate family is also partially owned by Transgestroi, also known as TIS. TIS is a construction company whose board is made up of MDSP members. Its deputy head is a former head of US 30, and TIS can only be contracted by foreign third parties upon approval from the MDSP directly. TIS is also known for constructing underground tunnels. See, this land that is now being developed, in part for Putin's daughter's foundation, is not just any piece of land. It is also rumored to be above an enormous leadership bunker, which is speculated to be around 200 to 300 meters deep and can accommodate 10,000 people. Like Yamantau, the Soviets were also exceptionally creative in constructing vast underground bunker systems in Moscow. The city's current metro system can actually be converted into a bunker for civilian use and house some of Moscow's population for a few days. For example, if you go into the Belaruskaya metro station, you'll go down for a while, eventually bringing you into a deep metro station that can double as a bunker. However, if you're bored and walk around a bit in the station, you'll also eventually encounter a recently renovated statue that pays homage to the Soviet Republic of Belarus. On both sides of that statue are two unsuspecting gray doors, and behind those doors is something else. Initially built for the USSR Ministry of Communication, connected onto the Belaruskaya metro is a massive restricted bunker. It's supposed to be accessible through an external building and can be used as a resilient command post. This bunker is not supposed to be used by any mere civilian, but instead by Russia's military and political class. Now, this bunker is dilapidated and in no state to be used, and these type of constructions aren't actually uncommon. For example, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also had its own bunker, and there are also declassified images showing even larger designs and schematics for other bunker complexes that could be retrofitted on Moscow's current metro system. However, unlike Belaruskaya and the declassified images that have already been revealed to the public, there are still some underground bunker systems in Moscow that remain highly confidential. On November 17, 2015, Pavel Safronov, a digger in Moscow, was apprehended by the FSB. Only a year before, Pavel and a few others had wandered around what they believed was the Metro 2 tunnel system for 3 entire days. Metro 2 is rumored to be a secret underground metro that connects the Kremlin with the massive underground bunker complex that is supposedly located right by Moscow State University, the land that is right now being developed. According to the group of diggers, some of the tunnels were hundreds of meters long and 25 meters high, although many were also abandoned and dilapidated. However, Pavel also reported discovering a closed-off entrance that linked to the Kremlin. These diggers' accounts are of course hearsay, and there was no evidence that the tunnels were being used extensively while Pavel had explored it, but it's only after Russia annexed Crimea in late 2014 that Pavel was arrested for leaking state secrets. Take that fact as you will. Now, does this tell us enough about the bunker by the MSU? Honestly, no. At the end of the day, we don't know what the bunker under Ramenki looks like, nor do we know the extent of all the underground tunnels and bunkers in Moscow. Maybe it's just a pure coincidence that Putin's daughter just happens to now be connected with a pretty large infrastructure project built on top of what is likely a massive leadership bunker, even during a time when the safety for his family is more pressing than ever. But honestly, we have no clue. Putin is a man shrouded in mystery, and so are his and his country's bunkers. For example, located near the Altai Mountains is a compound that is separate from the public. Built by Gazprom as a high-profile retreat, it's also been used by Putin in the past for state visits. On its own, the building doesn't seem like much. Pretty solid house next to a large river, relatively secluded, with only a few additional buildings. What makes Altai unique, however, is this: a transformer station. This isn't a station you use to power a few buildings. This is a station you use to power a small city. This was enough to sound an alarm. A professor in Russia made pretty large claims that some of the president's family is hunkered down in Altai, in some type of extremely advanced bunker unknown to the public. There's no smoke without fire, but bunkers are hard to construct, and they're hard to hide. It's probably unlikely that Putin was able to construct an entire underground city without it being visible to the public. Dirt that comes out of the ground does need to go somewhere else. But in all honesty, be it Altai, Yamantau, his personal palace, or close to Moscow State University, we just don't actually know the extent of the bunkers and how truly interesting they are. It's easy to dream up big ideas of large, advanced underground cities pulled by an unseen, strong political apparatus. But on the other hand, they may just be simple concrete rooms with peeling paint. Like the Russian state, the reality of these bunkers may lie somewhere in the middle, mysterious and real, organized and messy, strong and weak.